everyone, my name's Stuart Savage. I work for Consilium UK. We are a Symantec partner, and I thought I would put this video together because I've been asked rather a lot concerning the 2003 server end of life issues. Now, what I've done is I've put this video together, and we're just going to cover a few items such as the dates, particularly 14th of July 2015. The growth in vulnerabilities in relation to 2003 and any potential future vulnerabilities. Now, there are some mitigation methodologies in relation to support agreements, but what we'll do is I'll show you how to do an exploit and then other methods to mitigate, which actually would work out rather cheaper than going for an extended support agreement. Now, 2003 currently goes end of life on 14th of July 2015. Now after that you have a few options: either continue to be unpatched or buy yourself into an end or go into 2008. Now not a lot of companies can actually do that, either because of volume of servers or because of applications that cannot run on 2008 and above. Now what you would then do is buy into an extended support agreement. Now that support agreement is specifically designed to be punitive. It's very costly, and in fact the cost increases over time. As part of that, you also have to submit migration plans, and even when you do buy in, the patches will only be released if they're deemed critical by Microsoft. Now, you may already have issues that actually are critical, but as far as Microsoft are concerned, they're not. Now, obviously, any updates generally are a risk to apply, so you have to apply them carefully through the testing process. Now, in all of this, patching does not mean you are secure. It means you are patched. You are not vulnerable to that exploit, but it doesn't mean you're not vulnerable to further exploits. Now, when we hit the 14th of July, 2008 and 2012, we'll again get patches for any exploits, and those same exploits will be applied to 2003. So unless you've got a patching, unless you've got another mitigation mechanism, you will be vulnerable. Now, to give you an idea, the vulnerabilities have actually increased, and in fact the biggest year for vulnerabilities in 2003 it was actually 2010, but we're only a month and a half into 2015, and we already have 5 vulnerabilities. Now that can only increase over the next 6 months, and obviously will still increase after Windows 2003 goes out of support. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create an exploit. I'm actually going to attack a server and show you how easy it actually is to get a command prompt running on it, and also some passwords, particularly the administrator password. Now at this point I'm going to open up my VMware environment, and what I've got is a domain controller, a product from Symantec called Data Center Security Server Advanced, which is actually a policy-based control system. So we could actually say this particular application has access to this executable, this particular folder, this particular file, and it also includes memory controls. We have a 2003 server, and that 2003 server is going to be the one I'm going to attack, so that I can effectively compromise it. And what I'm going to do is then inject that into another product called Kali Linux. Now, Kali is a free distribution of Linux with various hacking tools built in, and what we have is another tool called Metasploit. Now again, this is easily downloadable, and it is of course free as well, and it allows you to actually launch certain attacks against vulnerable servers. Now I've actually got an attack pre-prepared here, which actually attacks the SMB ports and the SMB services on the destination host, and I'm going to kick it off and send the payload to the destination host. Now as you can see here, what it's actually done is send the payload to the destination host, and this will then mean I can now interact with it. Now if I look at my 2003 box and look in Task Manager, go to our processes, now as you can see there's no command prompt, so I'm going to go to this host and I'm going to run a shell. Now what this will do is open up the command prompt running with system privileges on the destination host, and it is that easy. It's very straightforward to attack any system that's vulnerable. And of course I can do a quick dir, copy files, modify registry, and so on. But it's not the only thing we can actually do. And there's a little command here where we can take the hash values from the local security accounts database. We can then take those hash values hold on a second. There we go, into our destination password file. Now what I'm going to do is open up an application called Johnny, and Johnny is a password attack system, and it's actually a graphical version of a utility called John. And what I'm going to do here, click on Start Attack, and I've got the password for that destination server. So that's the local administrator account, and that is how easy it is to get administrator password. From that point, I can then remote desktop to the destination machine. I can then perform certain actions, use it as a jump host to access any other servers I require. And the process continues. We can use the hacking tools to go from that server to the next, to the next, to the next, exploiting vulnerabilities once we've got a beachhead. Now, DCS is our mitigation mechanism. Now, this is actually a product that has been out for quite a long time, and it used to be called Critical Systems Protection, and it's a policy-based security system. It doesn't look at patterns, it looks at policy, which defines that an executable can run access to a single file, to the registry, to a folder, to a network location. And it also includes very complex memory controls, so that buffer overflows, which this particular exploit it takes advantage of, cannot actually happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to apply a policy to this server, and at the moment, if I go to our policy monitor, you can see that the policy is actually disabled, and that was the reason I was able to attack it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reapply this policy to that server, which is now enabled. As you can see here while we're waiting for it, as you can see the policy is actually enabled now. The 2003 server, this should change now to being enabled. Now that's our protection on. Now I'm going to go back to our server, and I'm going to actually exit that and then resend the exploit. And as you can see here, it's not actually going to do anything. Now, which is fantastic because it means that it's been detected, it's been stopped. If we look at DCS and look at our monitors, you'll be able to see the buffer overflow. And what's happened here is that it's been denied. Now, buffer overflows are memory protection. So in this case, it's been prevented from taking advantage of an exploit in the SMB subsystem. Now, again, this policy has a little bit more in it. It will actually block memory attacks. It will also block reverse connections from SMB back to the original server. And it is as simple as that. This particular product runs most applications in a sandbox, which restricts all applications to good behavior, even the operating system. Now, if you have any more questions, feel free. There's my contact details, and I'll be able to give you any further demonstrations on other products, other security scenarios and use cases.